What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be deep diving into the controversial love triangle between Ochako, Deku, and Toga. Clearly, this is the most important topic in the current arc of the manga, and it deserves a detailed and deeply philosophical analysis. Seriously though, Deku just rejected Toga's love, and she did not take it well. Toga went full yandere, and Deku is desperately trying to get away from her in order to join the battle against perfect Shigaraki, so let's get into it. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy our Boku no Hero videos and you want to see more in the future, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And please remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but very important way of directly supporting the channel. Finally, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Now, the previous chapter of the MHA manga was a lot of fun. We had Toga confessing her love to Deku in the middle of a war, and both Deku and Ochako were completely caught off guard. The text on the final page promised that the emotions are going to escalate even further in the following chapter, and I have to say that the manga delivered on that promise. Of course, Horikoshi is fully aware of how crazy it is to interrupt a massive new war arc in order to focus on a love triangle featuring a yandere. And I mean, even the chapter's narrator alludes to this in the beginning of the latest chapter. The narrator talks about how Deku is the wielder of One for All, the greatest asset in battle, the vessel of the quirk that All for One wants the most, and yet, in this moment, our legendary hero Deku is just kind of dazed and confused, and it seems that despite his amazing power, Deku still lacks confidence when it comes to the ladies, and he kind of sees himself as a loser in that regard. And I mean, that kind of does make sense. He's still just a high school kid and a teenager with literally zero dating experience. He actually had no idea that Toga liked him like that, and he asks her, what is she even talking about? Toga tells Deku that she had loved him ever since she first met him. He apparently reminds Toga of her first love, and when she saw him, she just thought that he was so cool. I mean, none of this sounds too crazy. Yeah, like being in love with someone who looks exactly like your ex is kinda weird, but it's not insane. Don't worry though, because the insanity is coming. Toga then makes like the most yandere face ever, and she says to Deku, I wanna become you, let me suck your blood. Deku is like, whoa, you know that being boyfriend and girlfriend just means like going to places together and holding hands and sharing crepes, right? And for my fellow French weebs like Aoyama, yes, I know that it's actually crêpe, but it's an English-speaking audience, so I'll call them crepes. Anyway, it's interesting that the things which Deku lists are basically the things that he has either done or talked about doing with Ochako. So clearly in his mind, Deku associates dating with dating a girl like Ochako, or rather, dating Ochako herself. But Toga is like, no honey, for me being a couple means becoming one and the same, and nothing less will fulfill my desires. She wants to consume Deku's blood and who knows what else, so that she can literally become one with him. Okay, I admit that Deku is not exactly a genius when it comes to the ladies, but you gotta cut him some slack here. I mean, no one would know what to do if they found themselves in this situation where a crazy woman is saying that she wants to consume him and become him. Meanwhile, Ochako is getting the shakes as she's listening to all of this talk about Toga consuming Deku's bodily fluids. Toga then asks Deku the same question that she asked Ochako back in Jakku. Hey hero, what do you want to do to me? Come on Toga, stop tempting me to make these kinds of jokes on YouTube. This is a family-friendly channel. To his credit, Deku is attempting to understand Toga and to relate to her. He says that he too always wanted to be like All Might and to imitate his hero. He says that he understands the desire to be like someone else, and how such a desire can drive someone and make them feel fulfilled. At the same time, Deku admits that he would never want to become one with someone he cares about in the way that Toga is talking about. And that's because he could never hurt the people that he cares about. For Deku, and for all normal people, consuming someone's blood or hurting them in any way is not the way you express your love. But Toga just doesn't understand this. Deku's honest words only remind her of how she was mistreated as a child, and how everyone just told her to be normal and stop being weird. In other words, to stop being herself. Toga concludes that Deku and Ochako are exactly like her father and mother, and that to them, only heroes and the people that they save are valued as people. The rest don't even seem to matter to them. By the rest, she is presumably referring to villains and those who don't quite fit into society's definition of a normal, law-abiding citizen. But let's be real, this is a massive reach on Toga's part. Deku and Ochako would definitely love to be able to save everyone, including villains, if only the villains were willing to amend their ways and stop committing crimes. But what heroes like Ochako and Deku cannot accept is someone like Toga continuing to hurt others because she herself thinks that the pain she causes is just an expression of love. As heroes who are sworn to protect people, they can't allow Toga to just go around doing whatever she wants and hurting whomever she wants just because she's their friend or whatever. But Toga just doesn't seem to understand that. To her, any attempt to convince her that her worldview is wrong and warped is a rejection of her true self, and she doesn't take it well. Actually, that is a massive understatement because Toga absolutely loses it. She goes completely crazy, she goes full yandere, and she brutally attacks Deku. And yet, even as she is attacking Deku, Deku's danger sense still doesn't activate. This is because Toga's worldview is so warped that in her own mind, she literally doesn't know the difference between expressing love for someone and hurting someone. So danger sense cannot pick up on her ill intentions because even as she attacks Deku, her intentions are genuinely good in her own mind, they are just completely twisted and warped. Deku is having a tough time detecting Toga in such close quarters because not only is danger sense not working, but Toga also has her stealth ability that she is using to her advantage. Toga declares that ever since she met Deku, she just couldn't stop thinking about him. But now she has decided that she will not think about him anymore. She is through with him and with everyone else. The world has done nothing but reject her, and now she is going to reject the world, Deku included. Ochako knows how important Deku is for defeating Shigaraki, and she also loves him, let's be real, so she jumps in to help. Toga looks like she's about to cut Ochako and potentially even kill her. But thankfully, Tsuyu shows up and dropkicks Toga away from Ochako. However, Toga did manage to get some of Ochako's blood on her knife. While Toga is down, Tsuyu tells Deku that this is not the time or the place to talk about romance. He has to get out of here and get back to UA to help with fighting Shigaraki. Ochako agrees and assures Deku that they can take it from here. As Toga gets back to her feet, her blades levitating around her like drones, she goes Ultra Instinct Yandere. She screams, "Why is life so hard even though I love you so much?" And Ochako tells Deku to run. Then Deku's like, "Himiko, honey, I'll be right back, I just gotta get some milk from the store." And he takes off, running so fast that he looks like he's actually running on water. I'm not sure if this is just to create a cool effect, or if he's actually planning to run across the ocean in order to get back to the mainland. I think I'd rather him have to actually find some form of transportation rather than just walking on water like Jesus, but we'll see what happens. My takeaway from this chapter is what I've been saying for a long time. Toga does genuinely love certain people, including Deku. If she didn't, then danger sense would have gone off. However, Toga expresses that love in completely twisted and violent ways, and that is simply incompatible with a properly functioning society. We, of course, live in a society where we have to protect people from unwanted violence from others. Deku's idea of romance is a far more traditional one than Toga's. And it is clear that Deku is much more compatible with a girl like Ochako than a girl like Toga. I mean, is literally anyone compatible with a girl like Toga? Anyone other than my editor, Axel, apparently. To me, this chapter makes it clear that Deku will choose Ochako. In his own mind, he probably chose her already. And I think that might be the trigger that ultimately motivates Toga to activate Sad Man's Parade. We have to remember that Toga is driven by emotion, not by strategy or logic. Toga won't use Sad Man's Parade because she wants to make a strategic contribution to the fight against the heroes or because All For One tells her to. She will do it when she is emotionally driven to do it, and Deku and Ochako ending up together is the kind of heartbreaking moment that could trigger her into using that ultimate attack. But just so no one can say that I didn't give Toga a fair chance, I will bring in my editor AxelBeats, who is a notorious Toga fanboy and an expert on Toga's totally non-insane worldview. Maybe he can enlighten us about Toga's current state of mind and what she might do next. Take it away, Axel.
So first off, we gotta talk about something. If we keep disrespecting the queen that is Toga on this channel, I'm gonna need a raise. But on the topic of this video, I do think he got a lot of things right. Toga has made her move, and she was turned down by both Deku and Ochako. And when a character's entire worldview stems from the idea of being neglected from people who are supposed to love her, and now is centered around people who she loves, and currently revolves around the idea of getting revenge against the people who don't accept who she is at her core, we could definitely be seeing the sparks that set off Sad Man's Parade. However, I think we first need to talk about the original user of Sad Man's Parade to really see how things will shake out with Toga. Ever since Twice died, there has been a shift in Toga's character. As he melted in her arms, she thanked him for saving her life, for showing her that she could be loved and accepted as she is. But from that moment, she begins to change. While she's always been eccentric and impulsive, Toga slows down and begins to question things. To her, sure, Twice was a villain, but he was also just a really good person. And I don't think that anyone who's watched or read along with My Hero Academia would really disagree with the concept of Twice being this sympathetic or understandable character. Yeah, he did bad things, but I wouldn't personally say that he was evil. But all the same, the heroes killed him, leaving Toga to ask, at what point do they draw the line? If it's a hero's duty to save people, was Jin not a person in their eyes? And will they kill me as well? We see in the most recent chapter her comparing both Ochako and Deku to her parents, people who she believed didn't think of her as a person, thus seeing her as not worthy of being saved. We mentioned in this video how Toga asks what they would want to do with her, and yes, at face value, it's hilarious. Haha, naughty joke, boonga boonga. But that isn't what she was asking. To Toga, Deku and Ochako are real heroes, just like Stain was. They believe in justice, and more importantly, they want to help everyone that they can. They aren't like the phony heroes who killed Twice, so when she's asking what would they like to do with her, she's actually asking, hey, I'm different. I don't belong, but I'm still a person, right? So how would you help me? Can you even help me? And if you can't, will you just kill me like you did Twice? Toga's at a crossroads. She has been desperately looking at Deku and Ochako to show that they are different than the rest of the heroes, and if they turn her away like her parents did, then Sad Man's Parade is likely imminent. However, if they do offer to help, then Sad Man's Parade could be a powerful tool in being used against the villains instead. Sure, Toga has this insatiable desire to want to consume people's blood, but she isn't really acting on it for the most part. She herself says she's holding it back, and that she wants to be friends with Ochako and talk about love and about Deku, but why is she holding it back if she's supposed to be this evil villain? Why would she want to make friends if she just wants to destroy everything like Shigaraki? It's because she doesn't want that. She showed up to join the League of Villains because she wanted to be like Stain, and to her, Stain wasn't a villain. He was a hero trying to make things better. To Toga, killing a bad hero like Stain was doing is no worse than parents abandoning their daughter for being different. It's no different from heroes ignoring people who don't fit in. And it certainly wasn't any different than choosing to kill Twice because he had the potential to hurt other people, even though he himself was a good person. They're all just choices that people had to make, hoping to make the world a better place. And if they're ruthless, and if they're cold, then so is the world. Toga holds herself back because even though she wants blood, she doesn't actually want to ruin lives. Part of her wants to be a hero, but if the world is cancerous and broken, if people keep turning away from people like her who need help, then maybe there's just nothing worth saving. As Animax says almost every time she's in a chapter, yes, she is kinda nuts. She doesn't fit into modern society, but that doesn't mean she should be treated as less than human. If the world saw you as nothing, you might want to fight back as well. And I personally can't blame her for doing so, but that's just kind of my views on Toga, where she's at mentally right now, and what the possibility of Sad Man's Parade going forward really are. I think that depending on her interactions with Ochako in the next few chapters, things could definitely fall on either side of the coin, but here's hoping for the best. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and as always, If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more. But until next time, remember to stay excellent.